I'm going to do a tiny plug, but I'm going to tell you the reality of it. I tried to do a training course. I've done these DVDs. One is called How I Made a Movie for $2,000. Another one's called The Master Class, where I go into detail of how I made movies for very, very low budget things. And I've done another one called Lightning in a Bottle. You can buy all these on Amazon. And it goes into detail on how I make the films, like step by step, and also all the problems I had, all the mistakes I made and everything. So I mean, I did all that. But the problem was, and I also did a couple of big live courses with people as well, where people paid me to come and talk and stuff. You can't teach it, I don't think. You can learn little bits from me, but you remember, I'm a director since the age of 21. I've done so much stuff. I mean, day in, day out, all I do is directing, and that's it. I had like a big production house in Australia. I've done this and that, own cameras. It's all experience, and because I did the world's first digital film, I guess I was always playing with computers way back, you know, like Babylon 5 and all that sort of thing. I also did the world's first tapeless film as well, though that was claimed by Zodiac. I beat them by about a year because I was just, you know, freaky. I just wanted to do it. Nobody really cares. I'm not saying my movies are any good, but
it's awesome.
It's you know, it's just involved in just trying to work with technology. How I do it, you know, I really don't know. I look back at the stuff I do, and I mean, one movie might be $250,000, another one might be 25 grand, and I look at the 25 grand one and I say, how did I pull that off? I'm budgeting a movie right now, and it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's just when you got no money, you find a way to do it, and I think that's the trick. You got to be clever.
I mean, even for $1 million films, if a movie's like 10 million, you still have to know how to use that money wisely. You can't just say, oh, I've got 10 million, you throw it up in the air.
It can go so quickly. I've blown $500,000 in one day. That's when I did this Manowar, this big live concert. We had like 32 HD cameras back in 2005. We had like 3 camera cranes. We had helicopter things going off, and it was the biggest live coverage of a music event in Europe at the time. And it's massive. It's great. It's on DVD, and it's, you know, it got all the best reviews and stuff. And that's nice. But you know, if you got the money, you spend it. So if you haven't got the cash, you basically just find a way to do it, and that's kind of how it is.
And the look of it, everything about it is great. Now, Starship Rising, that's a new film you have coming out, and you have a sequel. Let's talk about Starship Rising and the sequel.
Well, you know, I did a film called Humanity's End a few years back, and that really got a lot of, it's funny, this is how it works. You do a movie, especially a sci-fi one, and people kind of, they write really bad reviews. They say, this is crap, blah, 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 blah. They really talk.
We hate critics.
Well, I really have a bad time with critics, and they hate me. And that's fine, because they're not movie makers. But I got all these bad reviews, and then, like, and I think the reason being is the movie was the #1 most downloaded movie in the world for 3 weeks running in 2008. So it was a very popular movie, but people are downloading it. They downloaded a rough cut. And that really bummed me out a lot, because they never saw the director's cut. The director's cut came out, people saw that. And it's funny, the reviews were like 2 out of 10 on IMDb, and now the reviews are 4 out of 10, because people actually watched the movie and they actually sit with it for a few years, and it kind of gets in their head, and they realize it's not a bad movie. Now, I've had the same situation with Starship, where we had a very rough cut leak out, and all these people post all these reviews, and you know they're reviewing it sometimes on the movie they downloaded, because it's, you know, you can kind of tell the difference in comments, and they say the sound mix is bad, and this is bad, and that is bad, but you know, when people see the director's cut, it's a whole different experience for people. And I'm not saying it's the greatest movie on the planet, but it's an incredibly complex film. Starship is this big, titanic adventure movie, kind of inspired by Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Oh, I love The Wrath of Khan. That's got to be the best Star Trek movie
I think so. And if you watch it, it's got that same sort of vibe. That's what I was going for, that, but it's much darker. And people say, you know, one comment was, well, it was just like watching Dune. I didn't understand that movie, and I don't understand Starship Rising. But Dune is the sort of thing, like the book, you got to read or watch it many times, and you suddenly start to realize there's a universe there. And so with Starship 2, Starship 1's a big setup. I hate to say this, you know, I'm not going to get good reviews for Starship 1 until Starship 2 comes out, because when the two films are put together as they're meant to be, I shot both movies back to back, literally. And when you put the two movies together, you'll see, oh, there's a whole big story there. And Starship 2 is much funnier, it's much lighter hearted. Starship 1's a setup for the thing. And
now, how many are you planning? 4, or how many, or 3, or like a trilogy type thing?
You know, I like the trilogy idea. I don't know. I'm still fighting with distributors and everyone on what I should do next. I really want to do another one with Emmy, because Emmy, coming back to her, she's like a sweetheart to work with, and there's Brooke Lewis and Darren Jacobs, and start name dropping all the great actors.